everybody, how are you doing today? I know I probably look very, very different, but I've just done an interview with ITV News regarding the trio, the new trio. If you haven't seen it, this is what they look like, and oh my god, they are perfect. I could not have asked for anything better than that. And Hermione is she's just too pretty to play Hermione. She's just so stunning. And then you got Harry, that cheeky little face, and then Ron, oh my god, he looks so adorable. So let's have a little look about these people. Now, first of all, what I would like to say about this video is if there are any negative comments regarding the actors of Harry Potter, your comment will be removed. Okay, so people have been quite nasty. I'm not saying my fans specifically, but I'm saying in general, some people like to go out and look for things to comment on. So I'm very, very protective. As you can tell, I'm a mother. You know, I don't know these children, but they are still very much children. So please, please, please remember to stay nice or you will be removed, okay? So who have we got to start with? Let's have a little look. So where I first saw this, I was very quick off the mark. I saw it on HBO France, published it on TikTok, and then I double checked it because I thought, oh my god, what if this is a scam? And I doubted it because it was a genuine account, a genuine HBO account. And then I did look, and it was actually a genuine announcement. And then about 20 minutes later, everything else followed. So I was really, really lucky to have been on TikTok at that exact moment. And then obviously Warner Brothers then announced it later on, Warner Brothers Discovery. So we've got Harry, Ron and Hermione. They are Dominic McLaughlin. Is that right? Dominic McLaughlin. So I think that's pretty cool. So he's Harry Potter. Then we've got Arabelle Stanton as Hermione Granger. I think she's too pretty to play Hermione Granger. She's so pretty. And then Alistair Stout for Ronald Weasley for the new HBO original series Harry Potter. So they are the new little darlings that have been chosen to play the magical trio. Now, there isn't much online about them. In fact, there's almost nothing. There's nothing about their age. Couldn't find anything about their age. Now, apparently Hermione has played Matilda, or shall I say Arabelle has played Matilda, and Alice, which is so cool, Alistair Moody, is first thing I thought of. Monica Messery, like I've already thought of it. And that he has apparently had a little bit of acting experience, but I don't think it's either Ron or Harry. So it's either Alistair or Dominic who haven't had any acting experience. And the interviewer asked me, what do you think about that? I said, well, at the end of the day, Ron and Hermione, Rupert Grint and Emma Watson didn't either. So, you know, and look how that turned out. So there's no point in judging them. At the end of the day, they're going to have an incredible experience, and I'm really praying that Warner Brothers protect them, because people are not nice online. People are very, very, very horrible, and I've seen some really nasty stuff online about these castings. There's been a little bit about the trio, but there's been a lot about other castings, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry. I'm really looking forward to this TV show, and it's one thing that I'm desperately wanting to see, because it's another 10 years of magical experiences for us. You know, this is keeping the Harry Potter franchise alive. And I am so grateful for that. I am so, so grateful for that. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is the sets. Now, there has been some speculation online about sets. Now, this has not been confirmed. So I will put the pictures up for you so you can have a look at them. So the first picture we're looking at is one of apparently Diagon Alley. Now, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. So if these are genuine concept arts of what the sets are hoping to look like, then I've got to be honest, I'm not actually excited about Diagon Alley. I don't know what it is. It looks a bit too modern, if you ask me. It's very similar though to Hogsmeade in Hogwarts Legacy, if you've played that. It has got that very similar look to it as Hogsmeade. But I've got to be honest, it's not doing anything for me. However, we move on to what it looks like a corridor in Hogwarts. And I've got to say, this is what when I first read the books, this is what I envisioned Hogwarts to look like. And what I love about the ceilings of this photo is that the ceilings actually look very similar to sets that they've already filmed at, like Christchurch College, Lake Peacock Abbey. So I'm wondering if they may go back to those original sets or original locations, which would be really nice because they're reinventing or reusing the sets, if you like, and it makes the kind of almost like the tourist industry keep going for those locations. There we are. They might not. It might be more expensive to film on location rather than building it themselves. So, but I've got to be honest, this actually looks like a really lovely, lovely set to me. The whole walking through Hogwarts, as I said, this is what I envisioned when I was reading the books. So the next one looks like the Gryffindor common room. Now, it looks far more homely than the one in the films. I've got to be honest, it does actually look really lovely. The massive fireplace, the big sofa in front of the fire, which obviously Harry, Ron, Hermione frequently talk about, that's their favourite spot in front of the fire, and it's quite a popular location for other Gryffindor students. And then we have what looks like tapestries in the background, lots of candles, of course. And then we've got lots of students just basically having a wonderful time. And it looks like an area for the dormitories as well. So that looks really, really nice. And then the last picture is what looks like the Great Hall of Hogwarts. Now, the first thing I noticed was the enchanted ceiling isn't there. But this looks like when Maggie Smith, Professor McGonagall, is walking the their year 7, should I say 7th years, into the Great Hall to be sorted into the houses. If you really look, you can see a stall on the stage. I don't know what the sorting hat looks like because I can't see anything on there. But you've got these students walking up the corridor or up the space in between the two tables, and they are going to be sorted into their houses. But there is no enchanted ceiling, which I'm not too sure I like the look of. And if you look to the side as well, the Hufflepuff, Gryffindor and Ravenclaw and Slytherin house crests look very different as well. Maybe these aren't real. The counters at the end, they're meant to be in the entrance hall, so I'm not quite sure why they're in there in the Great Hall. But they looks like they are changing quite a bit if these are genuine concept arts of what they're hoping to do. I don't know. We don't know yet. They don't start filming until next month, which I'm sure they will announce when filming starts. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about as well is the sets that apparently have been leaked online. Now, when I went up to the Warner Brothers studio tour, not last weekend, the weekend before with Monica, she'd already told me that the Warner Brothers studio, Leavesden, is actually expanding, and they announced it online. They've bought a load of land around the area. Oh my God, is there so much land. They're also building a massive multi-story car park with a bridge that'll go over the original road. And a lot of things like Game of Thrones being filmed there at the minute, House of the Dragon Season 3, and King's Landing is much bigger. The Red Keep is much bigger because when you drive up you can see it on the hill. Seeing these sets online, I can see why they needed more space, because it looks like there is a lot of money being piled into this TV show. And I hope to God that it is not a flop. Now, the reason why I say this is because I'm really worried because of Fantastic Beasts. I'm not saying it was maybe a flop, because I thoroughly enjoyed the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but they finished it after 3 films when it's meant to be 5. I just think that's really sad. If they'd have kept it to 3 films like they were announced in the beginning, then maybe it could have continued to the end. It would have been great. There you are, 3 films, all done, fantastic, brilliant, massive fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, done. You know, he goes off to Nurmengard and it's all sorted. But they didn't. They finished after 3 films instead of 5, and it was ended in a way where if they wanted to come back, they could. You know, all that sort of thing. So I was a bit annoyed about that. A lot annoyed about that, actually, I'm not going to lie. So I'm really hoping that isn't the case with this series. Now, the sets that have been leaked online. So let me show you the first one. Now, the first one, I don't know if this is anything to do with the Harry Potter films. There are other things being filmed in Leavesden, not just Harry Potter. As I said, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon Season 3 is being filmed, and there are other things being filmed there as well. There's lots of other things. It's a massive soundstage. They are huge. These places are massive, and they will have a lot of things being done there all simultaneously. So the next item, this is an interesting one because it looks a bit like brick, almost like a courtyard, possibly part of Hogwarts. You know, they're building, like, obviously Hogwarts is going to be a huge part of this series. So how are they going to build it? Are they going to make it last? You know, obviously they can't build the full-size Hogwarts because there's no way they could do that. So they've got to build parts that they'll be using and maybe reuse the sets as something else later on, which is what they used for Fluffy's, where Fluffy was kept, above the trapdoor, and Hagrid's hut. So this is a very interesting photo, and I can't really tell what it is other than brickwork walls. So the next photo in the series, in these series of things that they've been released online to the public, obviously maybe not on purpose, I don't know, maybe it was pinched from a drone, I don't know, but then there's this one, and this could very well be, I thought, Privet Drive. I did wonder if it's Privet Drive. You know, they've got a little roundabout at the end, blah, blah, blah. But then somebody said to me, Godric's Hollow. Godric's Hollow isn't really used much in the first film. And maybe this is a bit too much to go all in at the first film. So possibly Privet Drive. It looks a little bit less likely like a normal house that you'd have in like the Harry Potter Wizarding World. And so after that, then there was another picture that was a bit more clearer of the same picture but taken at a different angle. So again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, 5, 6, 7, 8 houses. So there's 8 houses being built, and then it looks like there might be more being built behind as well. So obviously we don't know much about this at the moment, but that's what it's being given. But again, because of all the maybe the thatch, not thatched, but the patterns on the front are quite English, because there's a lot of houses around Watford and places like Bath that have houses that look like that. And I think maybe Oxford as well. So it's not far from where for a Privet Drive would technically be. But again, it's a little bit too kind of oldie woldy, and I just get the impression that the Dursleys wouldn't live in a place that's like that grand. You know, they'd live in your normal typical, I want to say suburban house, but we don't really have suburban houses in the UK. So it's a bit of an interesting look. Wondering why there's a house set off as well, and 2 houses, unless there's something going on there that obviously we don't know yet. But I'm really listening to the books again, and I'm up to, I just finished Order of the Phoenix. I'm going on to Goblet of Fire now. And not Goblet of Fire, sorry, Half-Blood Prince is my favourite film anyway. But it's very interesting to hear all these little bits that are in the audiobooks that we forget has happened, because obviously the films missed out so much, didn't they? So obviously you're looking at all of this and you're really kind of getting into the storyline. And then you're like, oh my God, it's like I forgot Luna was meant to be a year younger. She's in Ginny's year, if I remember rightly. She's in Ginny's year. She's Ravenclaw, which we knew, but she's in Ginny's year, and I completely forgot about that. You know, so there's so much that it's like little tiny things that I've just forgotten. They're just so prominent in the books. And Neville, bless him, oh my God, he's so sweet. And then he gets annoyed with Crabbe and Goyle, and people like talking about obviously the mass breakout in Prisoner of Azkaban, and so he decides during the Order of the Phoenix, when he's doing Dumbledore's army, he's going to suddenly be really good at doing spells, and he does become really good really quick. But obviously they don't go on about that in the books. He's like the little loner, the one that does everything wrong, can't even disarm Hermione, you know, that sort of thing. So it is interesting how they're going to portray all these people. And then of course we haven't had Draco Malfoy yet, we haven't had Neville Longbottom announced yet, so there's so many different people that we haven't been announced yet. So I'm glad they announced the trio now, like towards the end of May, 'cause they're meant to be starting next month. And I really pray to God that they have an amazing time making the series, and that Warner Brothers and HBO really look after them, because you're going to get hate regardless. You know, I did an interview on ITV this morning a few years back, and I think it was my second time on the show, and Rochelle was interviewing me. And last time I was on TV, I got slated for this, that and the other, just normal hatred, you know, people just being jealous of stuff. But when I went on X to have a look at what the comments said, they were just all racist comments about her, constantly just racist. And I'm thinking, why? Why be like that? I don't understand how people can be like that. We're all humans. We're born the same way. We die the same way. You know, just... they're not hurting you, so don't hurt them. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So I really hope that these kids are looked after, because they're precious. They are so innocent and vulnerable right now, and I just think for them this is the most exciting thing in the world. You know, they've got picked for a huge TV series. It could be one of the biggest TV series in the world of all time. We don't know. And their faces are going to be plastered everywhere. They are going to be like Daniel Radcliffe. Love him. You know, he's a man now. He's got children and he's got a girl. He's got a fiance, sorry, and yet his little dinky face is still on the packaging for when he was a teenager. So I really hope that they do look after them and they treat them with so much respect. Apparently they're building a school on site as well, because obviously they could only film so much a day. I think it's like 4 hours or something, and they had to do 4 hours of school. So as horrible as that is, no one wants to go to school today. It's just like you want to do something exciting all the time and pretend to be a wizard and witch, and you know, they still have to be at school. So it's really important that they are given the best in life that they can be given, because their life is never going to be the same again. You know, this a wonderful opportunity, but it could also be an incredibly scary opportunity. So I wish them all the best. I really do. So let me know in the comments. Remember, please be nice or you will be removed. Your comment will be removed. Please let me know in the comments, what did you think of the start of the HBO TV series that's hopefully starting to be filmed next month in the comments below. I love you guys. I will speak to you very, very soon. Sorry, this is meant to be the Noble Collection video, but with this all going on, I wanted to have a chat about it. So the Noble Collection video will now be released on Sunday. And of course, I still have my what I bought in the Harry Potter Studios as well, and I'm bagging for you. Until next time, take care. I love you all, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Want to check out more of my content? Take a look at this video right here or this video right here. Don't forget to like and subscribe.